Good afternoon. It's about 5:30 here in Nova Scotia, and I thought I would do a quick 5-minute Friday fiction episode, trying out the live video feature on the page. Maybe it'll be something that will become a regular thing. I'm hoping maybe it will be. What it's going to be is I'm going to read from one of my books for 5 minutes. I have my, let's see, get this in here. I have my timer set for 5 minutes and 4 seconds because it's going to take me probably a couple seconds to get the timer pushed and then start reading. So I'll read for 5 minutes, and when the timer goes off, then I will be stopping reading. So let's begin. Let me tell you first what book we are going to be using today. Today we are going to be using, see if I can, I don't know if I can. It's Teatime Tales. I don't have the cover there, but I do have a copy of it, the print book here, and the cover on the ebook looks the same as what the print book would look like. It's 6 little stories, just the right length, you know, for a few minutes of reading if you have a tea break that you would like to read during. We've got A Music Room Meeting, which I'm going to read from today. We've got With All My Love, which is a letter from Edmund to Fanny from Mansfield Park. And then, let's see, the Music Room Meeting one is actually based on Oxford Cottage, which is one of my books. And then we've got 4 that are based on Pride and Prejudice. Mr. Bingley Plans a Ball, From Tolerable to Lovely, A Battle of Wills and Words, and 2 Days in November. And those stories that are in this book, you can buy at any vendor for 99 cents. Or if you go to my website, lenebrown.com, at the very top, there is a button to click for signing up to my mailing list, and you'll get a free ebook copy of this plus another one if you are signing up for the list. All right, let's begin. A Music Room Meeting. A melody, haunting and beautiful, drew Harriet down the hall. Quietly, she opened the door and slipped silently into the room, taking a seat directly behind the player. His body moved with the emotion of the music, falling forward, rising back, following his hands as they moved up or down the instrument. The melody seemed to flow from him as if it were a part of him being breathed into existence. She dashed away a tear. How was it that a man such as he could make the air swirl with emotion? She had not even known he played. The gentleman before her clashed with the person she had always known. He was the one everyone looked to for strength. He was the one to lighten the mood with a well-placed, though not always proper, joke. Unless severely provoked, he was always a picture of cheerful composure. His fingers held the last chord until it faded into silence. Only then did his hands fall away from the keys. His shoulders sagged and his head drooped for a moment before he straightened, assuming his normal rigid pose. She paused for a moment to admire his form before alerting him to her presence. I did not know you played, Colonel. Richard spun around. Miss Phillips. He stood quickly and bowed. I did not hear you enter. She smiled at him, as intended. She raised an eyebrow. Adam, I was afraid you would stop playing if you knew I was here. She motioned for him to take a seat next to her. He chuckled. I would have. You play very well. Thank you. It's my mother's doing. She insisted on all her children learning at least one instrument. At least one instrument. Do you play anything else? He inclined his head in acknowledgement. I do. Which? She leaned toward him in anticipation. He shook his head. One disclosure is enough for tonight. The others shall remain my secret. His eyes searched the room. Perhaps you could share a secret With me, since you have discovered one of mine, how is it that you are here unattended? Surely you did not arrive at tonight's fete unaccompanied. Wilsley would never hear of such a thing. He did escort you, did he not? Her brothers had always taken prodigious care of their sisters, especially Harriet, as she was the youngest and most prone to finding trouble. He did, but he was quite preoccupied with several debutantes and their mothers. It seems unusually easy for some ladies to shift their preference from one gentleman to another. I suppose it is the title they truly admire. There was a hint of bitterness in her words. Forgive me, I have not had the opportunity to extend my condolences to you on the passing of your brother. Thank you, but it has been nearly a year. She smiled sadly. Yet it seems so much longer. Edmund has struggled to find his feet with all the new responsibilities that have fallen to him. Has he written to you about it? Colonel Edmund Phillips, now Lord Wilsley, had been on the continent with Richard when the news of his brother Matthew's death had summoned him home. Richard shrugged. He has made mention of some of his difficulties, but I believe he looks more to my brother and father for guidance on such matters than myself. What do I know about the business of being a viscount and sitting in the House of Lords? Since childhood, Richard and Edmund had scampered along behind their brothers, following their footsteps, but knowing they were the lesser sons. There had been a comfort in the understanding of the position they shared. Now that was gone. Edmund was now the heir, and as such, a step above a mere second son. His goals must now shift. His interests must change. His position was no longer one of equal rank. He was elevated both in title and in position as Richard's superior. They remained friends, of course, and always would, but it was not as it was. It was a fact which stung. You must be mistaken if you think he does not value your opinion. Again he shrugged. He may value my opinion, but that is all they are, theories devised through observation. What he needs is knowledge based on experience, and that I cannot give him. She laid her hand on his arm, as thrilling a touch to her now as it had ever been. His arm was so firm beneath her fingers. She had always drawn comfort from his strength. He had always been ready to protect and defend her. It was his shoulder she had longed to weep on when her brother had been taken. It was his absence that had made her grieving so much more acute. What he needs is the support of friends. That you can give. There was no chiding in her voice, no pleading or coercing. It was stated as an unarguable fact. And my timer sort of went off. I didn't want it to ring and scare me, so I just reset it. But so it was a little bit more than 5 minutes so that I could finish that last paragraph. If you want to read the rest of that, it's in the book. You can probably see it even on the preview in Amazon. I'm not sure how much is there. But a sweet little story about Harriet and Richard. And maybe one day I'm going to get around to writing some more of Richard's story from Oxford Cottage. I've always kind of wanted to. I hope you've enjoyed that. And now I am going to head off to make the supper before the children come looking for their food. Have a good evening. Bye.